2023 GR86. I actually recommended this customer based on the RTV borescope and oil filter inspection to remove the oil pan. Was I right? Let's find out. So as you can see, to my surprise, I was betting on a lot of excess RTV material to be built up in the oil strainer. In this instance, it doesn't look like that was the case. As you can see, there's not as much as we would have expected in the oil pickup. As per usual, the majority of it is jammed on the left side of the pickup. Why don't we check out what we pulled out? 6 months ago when this customer came for oil change, borescope, and oil filter inspection to inspect for excess RTVs, the pleats in his oil filter at the time, this is his current oil filter, but the pleats in his oil filter 6 months ago, it was almost like every single pleat was filled with RTV, the red and green stuff, based off of how much in almost every single pleat of the oil filter. That's why I recommended hey, there's probably a high probability of excess RTV in the engine, so that's why I'd recommend dropping the pan. So in this instance, a lot of these little small shredded bits, there's been an argument that even if this stuff makes it past the oil pickup strainer, the engine oil filter will just pick all this stuff up and it's not a big deal. So the problem is that these little bits can get stuck inside internal engine oil passages, and there should actually be 1 or 2 dedicated filters in the cam covers. I believe they're called the oil control valve filters. And those are designed so that it'll prevent foreign material from entering the oil circuit for the oil control valves. So that would be my biggest worry for all this little shredded RTV stuff, is to get caught in an oil passage or caught in those oil control valve filters. So it's interesting, you could kind of make the argument, are those big pieces of RTV more dangerous, the ones that are blocking the top screen of that pickup? Or is it actually this little small stuff that can make it past the filter screen and, into the oil passages of the engine? So I believe out of, let's just call it 100 of these oil change RTV inspections I've done for Gen 2 owners, there's only really been about 3 or 4 cases where the oil filter pleats were full of RTV or that red and green stuff, an excessive amount through majority of the pleats. This case interested me because, this is one of them that I recommended to drop the pan based on how the oil filter looked. All right, another curious case with this one, 2023, but we still have this dark gray RTV, July 2022 build date. So I looked through history. The other 2023 with this older style RTV for the lower oil pan was a June 2022 build date, so a month apart. So I'm curious, there's got to be a crossover somewhere between July and December 2022 when the factory decided to implement a change to use less and then the gray color RTV to reseal either just the lower oil pan or other parts of the engine.